Welcome back to an all-new edition of the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talent.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
We're super excited to have you guys here with us for another fantastic edition of the show because we have a very special guest that we brought on the show just for you guys. We're going to be talking with Rachel Cruze, the daughter of Dave Ramsey, and a personal finance expert in her own right. And she's going to be talking about how to love your life and not theirs.
That's right. This interview was incredible. Rachel really gave a lot of helpful tips as well as a lot of insight on how to love your life and not love someone else. So you definitely want to check it out.
Hey, Rachel. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hello, Rachel.
Hey, you guys. Thanks so much for having me on. I so appreciate it.
We're super excited to have you on. We are super fans.
Yes, we are.
Of the Lampo Group.
Yes, we are.
From our show. And we know that you have a great deal of information to provide to our audience. And so we're super excited that you agreed to come on the show today. Now, of the thousands of people that are tuned into the show right now, there's probably about 3 that don't know who you are. So can you take a moment to introduce yourself to those 3 people and let them know what you're all about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Rachel Cruze, and probably in the context of a lot of your listeners, I'm more known as Dave Ramsey's daughter, which I take with all pride and a smile. I don't shy away from that at all. And, just growing up in a house where my dad really, his focus and why he was put on the planet was to help people with their money. And growing up in that household, I realized how crucial it was to form good money habits, be wise with your money, because it sets you up in life to do so many incredible things. And so as I graduated from high school and went to college, and throughout my college years, I really started realizing, wow, debt is normal. And I always heard my parents say that, and we were taught to stay away from debt. And so all these kind of common sense principles were playing out in front of me, and I realized, wow, people really do need this message. So when I graduated from college, that was years ago now, I just decided I want that to be my passion and pay it forward from the incredible gift my parents gave me of this knowledge of how to deal with money. So now I'm out doing that as well. So wrote a book with my dad called Smart Money, Smart Kids that came out about 2 years ago. I'll do interviews and media. I have a blog and a video blog as well. And so just trying to give people good content on how to deal with their money.
Now, we loved your last book.
We did,
New
yeah.
York Times bestseller, correct?
Good, it was #1.
It was a great book.
And so we're even more excited about your new book, Love Your Life, Not Theirs. So I'm curious, what were the circumstances that led you? Because this is a different angle from all the other books that have come out of the Dave Ramsey organization, and you're attacking money habits specifically. What led you to take a look at personal finance from that angle and write a book?
Yeah, well, it was interesting because as I was traveling the country and talking to people about their money, this same theme kept bubbling up to the surface. And it was this idea that more than ever in our culture and in our world, we seem to let other people's lives, other people's expectations, other people's lifestyles dictate the way that we handle our money. And whether that's through reality TV or social media, whatever it is, the outlet, it seems that we're letting other people influence us on a greater scale than ever before. And I just kept hearing that over and over. And I thought, gosh, what if we had this idea, this tunnel vision with our money where we said, you know what, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family, no matter what trips my friends are going on, no matter what kind of houses they're living in, what is best for me and my family, and what are the things that we value and that we want to do, not what the world's telling us we need to do, but what do we want to do with our family. And just thinking of that tunnel vision of, gosh, if we could learn to focus on our lives and love our lives and not everyone else's, it's an incredible, empowering thing where you can stop comparing your life to everyone else. So I kind of accompanied that need with implementing money habits for you to live the life that you want.
Love that. Love that. So why is it important for us to recognize what our money habits are and the role that they play in our financial well-being?
Yeah, well, I think that's the interesting point about the book is that I say you have a money habit, whether it's good or bad, right? So either you have a habit of saving money or you don't, or you have a habit of you spend more than you make, whatever it is. We all have money habits. So it's just gearing people into making smart money habits in their life. And I love the idea of habits because what a habit is after a while, it just becomes muscle memory, where it's not really the strain and this fight in your soul. It's who you are. It becomes a part of your everyday life. And really, for me, that's kind of my testimony of growing up with this and this being in my head and practicing this and being diligent with it. I'm not perfect with money and I still make mistakes. I still have that tension. But overall, the big principles, it's a habit. Like steering clear of debt is one of the habits I talk about in the book. And honestly, for me, it's that. It's black or white. I mean, I will not borrow money. I will steer clear of debt. And that's just become a habit in my life that I followed. So now I don't get tempted with the credit card offers at the store or that I need to go take out a car loan because, again, this idea of steering clear of debt is a habit in my life. And that's my first inkling is, I don't need that because I don't have the money. And to be able to get to Americans in this place where their first inkling are healthy money habits when it comes to their money is an incredible thing. Again, to set them up to live a life they want and to be able to help others.
Now, you've been helping people get their finances on track for a number of years now. What's been the most damaging money habit that you have seen in a general sense that's really been hurting people, and why is that the most damaging habit?
Yeah, I think it's the habit I open up with the book, and it's kind of like what the title says, but it's the comparison habit of comparing our lives to everyone else's. And so the first habit is quit the comparisons. Because again, if you can have this foundation of when it comes to you and your money decisions, and the foundation of that is what's important in our family and our life. And again, not everyone else's. It's incredible what wiser decisions you make, because what we compare our lives to so many times, and especially, in our world today, it's really social media ends up kind of being the avenue that we do it. And this idea of keeping up with the Joneses 30 years ago in my parents' generation was that you actually had to see Mr. Jones pull his new car in the driveway, right? Or you had to see the Joneses at church. You actually had to see them with your own two eyes in person. Where today, we carry the Joneses around us in our back pockets. I mean, I have my phone sitting right next to me, right? I mean, we carry them around everywhere. And what's hard is with social media, it's everyone's best foot forward, right? I mean, it's everyone's highlight reel. So you're comparing your life to a very unrealistic life, because the only life you see on social media is the best part of everyone. And so that's what I really try to break people and to say what you're comparing your life to isn't the whole picture. Because, you could see your friend just redid her kitchen on Facebook. You'll probably appreciate this. And it's like, oh, the granite countertops and the beautiful appliances. And that's what you see, which is great. But you don't see possibly the second mortgage that was taken out on the house to do those renovations. And now their marriage is strained, they're stressed because of this new kitchen, but you don't see that part. And so just painting people in this picture of saying, hey, you're not seeing the entire picture, if you will. I keep saying picture, and it is social media. So it's like I play words, but
Very good point, though. You're absolutely right. So in recognizing that we have money habits that we need to change, how do we mentally prepare ourselves for such behavioral changes?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because once you have a habit in place, it's hard to break a habit. We hate change, right? I mean, all of us do. We hate change. And so having to change your mind, it can be hard at first, but the sacrifice is worth it. And so going in and realizing, okay, the way I've been handling my money, and some of it might be right. You may read this book and be like, oh, well, we are doing this right. That's great. But some of it is going to take discipline and it's going to take work. But that's the thing with money is again, you have to be disciplined. And especially when it comes to the topic of debt, we always say that you can wonder your way into debt, but you can't wonder your way out. To succeed with your money, it takes sacrifice, it takes hard work. But the outcome of that, whether that's changing your family tree, setting your kids up for a better life, helping others and being able to be generous, it's worth it. So the mental preparation as you're preparing to change your money habits is great, but it gives you freedom. And that's what I'm doing. These money habits are not going to put you into more bondage, more stress. If anything, it's going to relieve stress. It's going to relieve the anxiety you have around money because it's going to get you back in control of your money.
Now, you're a parent. Ty and I are parents. And this is a category, a group of people, a special group of people who seem to always find themselves in that trap that you were speaking of earlier, the comparison trap. In what ways have you seen this take place?
With kids specifically? Yeah. Oh gosh. I had no idea this whole world existed, the parenting comparing world, until I became a parent, because I realized I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it's just there's so many topics in a kid's life, that you can compare your life to other people. I mean, whether it's the parenting or your kids themselves. I mean, it's even you're putting yourself in situations of even in the preschool drop-off line, right? Or it's crazy how often we're seeing this. And even, whether it's kids' schools or kids' clothes or whatever it is, I seem to find that a lot of parents end up putting their identity in their kids. And so they're like, well, we have to do the best and the best. And you want the best for your kids, sure, but it has to make sense. Like, we got to still use common sense, and people don't. And so you're realizing, oh, wow, well, they took their kids to Disney 18 times last year. Is that, what should we do? And so it is crazy. And as a parent, too, I think, there is a mom guilt. I guess we can relate to the mom aspect. I don't know about the dad, but, there's the mom guilt. I mean, there's all these things that you're like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I okay? And again, that's where I'm like, I have to remind myself too. I'm like, it's tunnel vision. If she doesn't have the cutest stroller right now, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. It's probably more about me than her. So just focusing on you, but bringing kids into the picture tugs on your heart in a whole new way.
So what are some things that we can do to stop comparing ourselves to others?
It's difficult, and this is the hard one, because it is an emotional thing, right? It's not a tactical, like, okay, well, if you put these numbers in order, this is how you get out of debt. There's not math involved when it comes to comparisons. So it very much is a heart issue. So for me, personally, I have found one word that has helped me fight this battle of comparison, and I believe win it over and over again. And it's one word that embodies so much, and that is gratitude. Being grateful. And it's amazing that I really do believe a heart filled with gratitude, there is no room for discontentment and comparisons. When you are grateful for what you have, it's amazing how it changes your viewpoint and your perspective. And so for me personally, because I have to have tactical things to help me. So I honestly had a friend tell me this I guess it's probably been a year and a half now, and it's worked so well for me, is on my phone in the mornings, my phone alarm goes off, and on my notes icon on my iPhone, I have a gratitude list. And it's this running list. And every morning before I do anything else, political season's been hard. I've ended up checking Twitter probably more than I should. But I try to click that notes icon and write down just 2 things I'm grateful for every morning. And that's it. Just 2 things. And I try to do something different every day. And so for the first week or 2, I hate to say this, but it was rather easy, because I'm so blessed. I'm like, I have my health, I have a baby, my husband, my work, I have so much to be grateful for. And then after those obvious ones were taken, I realized, okay, I have to actually get creative, and I actually have to think. But for me, it's such a good mental exercise to start my day with just 2 things. And I have this running list, because when I'm on Instagram later that day and I find this, like, oh, I feel like I need to take a vacation. All these people are on vacation that I'm looking at, and I need to be on vacation. And I feel this, comparison or this discontentment creep up. I can click on that list, and I have a rolling list now of so many things. And for me, it helps just center, focus, again, what's important in life. So gratitude, I think, is the key to so much of this comparison battle.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, even the Bible talks about how godliness with contentment is great gain. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
right.
We gain greatly by, like you just mentioned, starting our day off not stressed out, traffic, or what are the kids going to eat for lunch, but no, just saying, wow, thank you, Lord, I'm here. It's a new day. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for food in the refrigerator. And I think that just sets your day off on a trajectory that is only going to go upward, But if so many of us just get immediately caught up in the cares of this world, and then, like you just said, Twitter, whoa, look at that. That's nice. I don't have that. So, my life stinks, and you go in the opposite path. And so I think you're so right with the fact that we need to start our days being grateful. And that is a way to combat all this comparison traps that we constantly find ourselves in.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And again, I think the best exercise is when you feel like you don't have anything else to be grateful for, to make yourself still find things. And so, yeah, I mean, it's an incredible thing when your heart, you are so thankful for what God's given you and what's right in front of you.
In your last book, Smart Money, Smart Kids, you were teaching us how to deal with money and children. And then your dad's last book, Legacy, was talking about how to take all of this that we've learned and create generational wealth for generations to come. So for the parents that are tuned in right now, what are some ways, once we get ourselves together and we get our mind away from trying to be caught up in the comparison trap, how can we now impart good money habits into our children?
Yeah, I think it's simpler than what parents give themselves credit for. I think a lot of parents, when we were writing the book Smart Money, Smart Kids, and I was talking to parents, I felt a lot of guilt, a lot of shame when it comes to the topic of money and adults, because I talked to a lot of people and they're like, well, who am I to teach my kids about money? I mean, we have credit card debt. We're living paycheck to paycheck. Like, who am I? And I told them, like, who are you? You're their parents. Like, That's who you are. Like the amount of influence you have and what you can do and implement in your kids is incredible. But you just have to start. And I always tell them, like, or whoever's listening, don't let your past mistakes dictate your kids' future. You have to dive in and say, be honest. Yeah, we haven't done well with our money. We're going to try to get on track. But for kids, I mean, stick to the basics. Keep it so simple. Things like work. Let them work. It's shocking. Yes. It's a verb, but it's out there. But to have good work ethic and even put them on commission, and that's how we were in the Ramsey family. We were never given an allowance. We were always on commission. So you work, you get paid. You don't work, you don't get paid. And you suddenly realize that money comes from work. Money doesn't just come from mom and dad's back pocket. And so have a list of chores on the refrigerator and say, here's the 5 things you're going to do this week, and here's what we're going to pay you if you do them. I mean, it's just simple things like that. And then once your kids earn money, and then teach them 3 simple tasks with it: to spend, save, and give. We actually do the reverse order: give, save, and spend. Have them give a little, have them save some, and have them spend some. Because what you're doing is you're just kind of building all 3 of those money muscles. Because even as adults, that's what we should be doing ultimately, right? The big umbrellas is give, save, and spend. And you're just teaching them that very simplistic. Again, you don't have to like have a boot camp, of money. And I think that's what when people hear I'm Dave Ramsey's daughter, they assume we had like mutual fund parties and like budget meetings all the time. And you don't have to be that crazy parent. It's just little things you implement, daily or even weekly. It's amazing what your kids will soak up and learn, but you have to be intentional. It's not going to happen. And so communicating about it, talking about it, that's one of the habits in the book, is talking about money even when it's hard. And one of those relationships is parents to kids, having that dialogue and that conversation, but also letting them experience sometimes the pain of working and the pain of having to save. Let them experience that for their own, because you would rather your kids make very small, insignificant money mistakes while they're under your roof. So when they go off on their own, they've learned from those, and they won't make huge catastrophical mistakes on their own. And so just building those small habits, I guess you could say, in your kids is huge. Andy Andrews has a quote which I love. He said, "You're not just trying to raise good kids, you're trying to raise kids who become good adults." And that's it. You want what kind of adult do you want this kid to end up like? And that's what you need to teach them, those things. So parents, I'm going to give you more credit than you're probably giving yourself credit. So you can do it, implement it, push through. Even when you feel like I'm not worthy of being able to teach my kids about it, you are. And, and if you're a believer, going to scripture. I mean, train up a child, he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. There's so much wisdom in that. And so, but again, parents, do it. I'm pleading you, because I talked to the 25-year-olds on the other side whose parents didn't talk to them about money. So I'm like, please.
That's good, Rachel. That's really good. So why is making a plan for your money such an important money habit for everyone to develop?
Oh gosh, this is huge. A plan for your money, boldly, I make it kind of soft in the book, so I don't want to scare people off, but it's a budget. Living on a budget. You have to be intentional if you want to win with money. And it's amazing that, if you get a paycheck in, if you don't have a budget, how it just disappears within like 2 weeks. And you're like, oh, I don't even know where my money's gone. And people live like that for decades and decades and decades. And so gaining control of your money, and the saying I love is that you need to take control of your money so that your money doesn't control you. Control your money. You tell your money what to do, and a budget is the best way to do it. And be able to look forward and say, okay, I'm going to plan for the month ahead. It's not a spending log. Some budgeting tools out there, they just track your spending, and I don't like that. I want you to plan ahead and say, this is what I'm going to spend, and then track your spending with that. But having boundaries and having limits. And Every Dollar is my favorite budgeting app, because it does that. It helps you plan ahead, and it helps you track your spending. And so having a tool, that you use for that is great. And so being intentional with it. And it's difficult. Talk about painful habits that you have to take on. It can be very hard, and it can be very intimidating. And so if you've never done a budget before, the hardest one is the first one, because you think, I have no clue what I spent on food. Then when you look back last month to see what you spent on food, you're probably going to want to puke, because it's probably way more than what you think. And it's like, oh, I don't want to face the reality. But facing that reality and say, okay, I'm going to try this and do this. And give yourself about 3 months for that budget to work. But it's amazing the control and the peace you have, because I am a free spirit at heart, and I am a spender, actually, which is good that I talk about money every day because it helps me. But I love to spend money, and a budget for me for so long, I knew I should do a budget. Mom and Dad, drilled that in my mind. But doing it and actually having the act of sitting down and making a plan, it just sounded so draining to me, and it sounded boring, because I felt like, for me, every time I heard the word budget, it was always in kind of a negative context. I feel like everyone was like, oh, well, I can't go out to eat, I'm on a budget. Or we can't go out shopping, we're on a budget. Or we can't go on vacation this year, we're on a budget. And I was like, people on budgets are not fun people. I don't want to live a life like that. And so I had to, really get past that and realize, no, a budget doesn't limit your freedom. A budget actually gives you freedom. Gives you permission to spend. And so you're not freaking out at the checkout line at the grocery thinking, should this have gone to my light bill? Should this have gone to, you're not second guessing. No, because it's been planned for. And so even as a free spirit and a spender that I am, I promise you, after doing a budget very consistently since I've been married, really, for the past 6 years, it's tremendous what you can do. And again, my whole theme of this book is being able to, loving your life and not theirs, sure, but setting you up to live the life you want. And that's what a budget gets to do. You get to plan out what you value. And do you value a vacation every year? Well, if you're out of debt, then that's great. Put that in the budget. Put money towards that. So being able to live the kind of life you want, but it's not going to happen on accident. You have to be intentional with it. And that's what a plan is. That's what a budget does for you.
Absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely. So what's your best advice to help somebody learn how to live with less debt, less stress, and less worry?
Oh, man. I would say, I think you have to get a point in your life. I'm stealing this quote from my dad, but it's true, is that you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I talk to some people, I'm a millennial, so I hate to dog my entire generation, but I will talk to some younger people, and they're like, yeah, I think I want to do that. I kind of want to get out of student loan debt, I guess, sort of, kind of. And I'm like, okay, it's never going to happen. If that's what you would think, you're going to be in it for the next decade of your life. You have to get to a point in life where you're like, you know what? I'm done with this life I'm living. I'm done feeling like I'm working for nothing. I'm tired of all of my money coming in, and it's going out to MasterCard and 2 car payments and my student loan. I'm tired of Sally Mae being in my house, right? I'm tired of this controlling my life, because I feel like I go to work to pay bills, and that life over years and years and years, it's draining and it's exhausting, and it's like, oh, I want to be able to live a life where I can be able to do the things I value, whether that's my lifestyle or even my job, whatever it is. And so you have to get to that place in your life where you say, you know what, I am willing to put in the hard work. I'm willing to put in the sacrifice to get out of debt. I'm willing to do this because it's going to set me up for a better life. And I believe for your kids' life as well. I think it changes a family tree when you decide this, but you have to get to a point where you want to decide to do it. No one else is going to do it for you.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great. Keep it real, Rachel. Love that. Love that. Love that. So if someone is listening to the show right now and they have some doubts, saying, I don't know if I can create these better money habits. I don't know if I have what it takes. What words of encouragement can you offer them right now?
I would say you have what it takes. I don't care how much debt you're in, what kind of income you make, no matter where you are, there is a place where you can say, I'm going to control my life. In this area of my life, I'm going to take control back. And you can do it. And some people, their hole is bigger, if you will, and they have maybe a smaller shovel. Everyone's situation is going to be different. But anyone in the world can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take control of this area of my life, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to focus and do it. And I would say that. I would say no matter who you are, it is possible for you, because I was born the year my parents filed for bankruptcy. So talk about starting from the bottom. They started from nothing. And if they can create the life they've created, be able to instill good money habits in me, and I've chosen now to live my life this way. I look at my parents, so I'm like, yes, you can do it. And I think for the benefit of your family, but also for the good of others, and being able to experience this life of giving and helping, and just the amount of fulfillment that comes with just being wise with your money. And so it's going to take small steps at a time. It's day by day. Some days will be harder, some days will be easier, but it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so I would say start, because common sense and God's ways of handling money will not fail you, but you have to implement it, and you can do it.
I'm fired up.
Me too.
Thank you. I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
So tell our audience how they can get their hands on a copy of your new book, Love Your Life, Not Theirs, and how they can stay connected with you.
Yes, you can get it on rachelcruze.com. It's on pre-order now. It actually launches October 3rd. So if you buy before October 3rd, we're giving you the audiobook of Smart Money, Smart Kids. We're giving you a free talk, about $70 worth of free stuff if you pre-order. So you can do that at daveramsey.com or rachelcruze.com. And yeah, I'm on all social media. I kind of dogged social media earlier in the interview, but I'm on it. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, all the above at Rachel Cruze. And it's Cruze. Some people leave off the E, but E's in there. So yeah, I'm everywhere.
Awesome. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and share all of your great knowledge with our audience today. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Y'all are awesome. Thanks.
Wow, that was incredible.
Yes.
I mean, it just goes to show you, like, we always, or, you know, a lot of times we get caught up in the dollars and cents and the nuts and bolts of personal finance when really the majority of the problem or the majority of the solution when it comes to your money is your behavior.
That's right.
And that starts with even your outlook. A lot of times with all this instant gratification with social media, we get caught up in looking at our friends and our family, and then we start to measure ourselves up against that, and a lot of times that causes us to make the wrong choices in life. And so we have to, like Rachel taught us, we have to learn to appreciate what we have.
That's right.
We have to learn to love the things that are surrounding us right now. Look at them as a blessing. Be grateful to God for what we have right now, because if we can take the time to learn how to do that, man, when times come where we can do better, or we can get this, or we can get that, we're making the decision based on really just what we want to do instead of trying to keep up with somebody else.
Absolutely. Well, the question that we have for you is, are you going to start to love your life? Well, we sure do hope so. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, check us out over at our website at hisandhermoney.com.
Well, guys, that's it for this time. It's been great. Until next time, peace.
Bye.